Hey everyone, it's Jonathan from Motor Psychology. Welcome to this channel. And also welcome to my snowy world today, which is February 23rd, 2023 as I'm shooting this intro here. So in today's video, I'm going to be removing the oil pump and the screen, and I'm also going to be removing the main seal, or the rear main seal, which is on the crankshaft. So it's a matter of taking off a attachment and putting in the new seal, which could be kind of tricky, and you have to be careful with that. And putting in a rear main seal is not something that you do every day. It's something that requires a lot of work to get access to it in the first place, and then the actual job is not too difficult. So I'll show you that in that video, and stick around and let's get into it, because I'm heading off to shovel and snow blow my driveway. All right, we're back here. I'm going to show you some parts that I have, and then I'm going to go and install them. So in this video, what I'm going to show is the removal and installation of the oil pump. And with that, with the new oil pump, you get the oil pump. There's a screen that you need to get for it. I'm also going to be changing out the rear crankshaft seal. And here we are with that. They also call it the rear main seal. And there's a little installation tool, which I'll show you how that works. And then also this little nylon washer, which is for the distributor shaft. And I also have this one as well. They may be slightly different, but right now I don't know exactly what the shape is of my rear seal is, and they make them in two pieces because you can install it without taking the engine out with two pieces, opposed to it being one O-ring. Then it would be impossible to change. So you have to put them in and offset them a little bit, but I'll show you about that anyway. So let's check out the parts that I'm going to be putting in before I get out there and actually start doing the work here. It's nice not to have to actually restore a part and actually use a new one. So, oh great. And I've got another one of these. So I've got a lot of those nylon washers in there. Didn't have to buy any extra. There is the basic oil pump right there. And this is the attachment where it hooks onto the engine. This is the part that will be run by the distributor. The distributor actually turns that shaft, which actually turns the pump. A new screen needs to go on. I've got the screen, and let's have a look at that. Here's the screen here. Wow, it's really glued on there nice and tight. Yeah, so brand new screen. Looks like the original. This needs to get pressed onto the pump without question with that, and I'll make sure I do that, and I'll show you the process. They recommend putting on a new screen when you change your oil pump. The old screen looks fine, but I might as well do everything. What I don't want to do is, after all this work to get the oil pan off, not to change those parts in there. So I might as well change them, get them all done, get them all replaced while I'm in there. This is the distributor shaft. This one is actually one that you don't need a nylon washer on, and it actually has one of these things. So I'll check that out and see if this is a better option. I can also reuse the old shaft as well. What else do we have here? This thing here is a special tool that is going to be used to put the screen onto the oil pump. And I'll show you how that works. All right, time to get started. All right, so we're underneath the C3 right now, working on the oil pump, which here's the oil pump screen. The oil pump is back here, and the bolt to remove it is this guy here, and that's a 5/8 bolt. And then way up in here is the distributor shaft here, and there's that nylon sleeve, which is up there. So hopefully you can see that. Let me just zoom in a little bit more. Nylon sleeve, you've got your 5/8 bolt down there, and the screen. So I'm going to start removing this right now. So as I've mentioned before, since I've got the oil pan off, and it was such an effort to get the oil pan off with all the removal of the exhaust, I'm going to change my oil pump because I don't want to take all this stuff off again in case the oil pump doesn't work. So it seems like a good idea to take that off while I've got everything else out. So that's the plan. Let's hope things work out. So I've got an extension on this ratchet here, and hopefully it'll come out no problem. Looks like I'll need the breaker bar for that as well. All right, got my 1/2-inch breaker bar set up. Let's see if I can get this torqued off. Yeah, no problem. These breaker bars are a lifesaver. Should be pretty straightforward now to get this off. And I got to support this. Oh, super easy. Already loose, so to speak. Might be a little bit of oil coming out from here. There, that's undone. Should just come out. There we go. And out comes the distributor shaft. It's a good idea to notice where it is. I see that it is basically clear with that. So the end is more or less parallel to the back of the engine, which is perfect. So the distributor shaft and the little nylon sleeve is right here. That's it for the oil pump. As mentioned before, I'm going to be taking off this crankshaft seal area as well. So these two guys have to come out, and then this will lower off, and then I'll get access to the gaskets as well. So I'm going to be taking these two off right now and just getting set up for that. Oh man, tight little guys. There we go. Perfect. This will come off my hand now. There's one of the rear crankshaft seals bolts. Let's get this one out, and I'm going to support this so it doesn't fall off. The other bolt. Hammer here, hopefully can just tap this off. There we go, coming off nicely. There we go. This is the bearing here, and here's where the seal goes in. So that'll be too easy to fix. It's getting the one out of there that's going to be interesting. Just to show you what's going on here. Here's the rear of the engine. This is the flywheel here. This is the rear of the engine where the crankshaft is. This is the bearing. So this is actually the crankshaft part of it. And the rear seal is right in the back here. So I don't know if you can see that up here. So the rear seal, or half of it, is on this side here. So you got it here and there. When I do it, I'm going to offset it a little bit so that the seam is not here and not here. So I don't want the seam here. I'd rather the seam being up in the engine a little bit more. So that's my plan on that. Looking here, I'm going to have to somehow push that out and then also grab the other side, which is right up in there as well, to get that out. And I'll move on to doing that momentarily. I'm just going to take the other parts inside. One of the challenges getting these seals out here is you have to push it through, but the last thing that you want to do is scratch the metal here. So I'm going to have to try and find something that is either made out of wood or plastic to use to push that around. So I got to look for something like that, and then I will come back and give it a try. Hopefully it'll come out pretty easily. All right, we're back here. The parts are on the bench. I'm going to just wipe some of the excess oil off of them, and same with the bolts here. They look in great shape, obviously, so we'll just wipe them clean. And this I'll just do a quick wipe down and then get the other pump set up with this at the right angle. That's important. So what I'm talking about is, see the angle that screen is on? So there's a little bit of an offset there. I want to make sure that when I get the new pump set up that it's at the exact same angle. So I don't want this screen to be too low that way, or else it's going to bottom out on the oil pan. So I want it exactly like this if possible, and we'll take it from there. So you can see the screen here, not in too bad condition, but you know, might as well replace it while it's out. This guy here, we're going to be wiping it down, cleaning it out, and then trying to get this seal off and then match it with one of the new seals to make sure that we have it correctly identified and put in place as well. Yeah, I'll probably put this thing through the parts cleaner first and then come back. But let's see if we can get that seal off. And put this out of the way. Okay, once you have this out, you can actually pry this seal off with the screwdriver, making sure not to damage the metal in here, and that should pop out relatively easy. So let's give that a shot and see how it goes. All right, instead of a screwdriver, I'm going to use this little pick. I think it'll be less damaging, but it should be fairly easy to grab this thing and get it out. So let's try that. There we go. That popped out really easily. And just taking note that that is the direction that it went in. So what that means is, see this little ledge here? Right there. I want to keep that on the inside, let's say. And the rest just sits in there. So I'll be back with a clean part, and I'll put the new part in just a moment. Now I got to take this out again. There. Too easy. I'll be back in a sec. All right, here's this part cleaned up, non-oily. Should make it a little bit easier. As far as orientation, this would normally be down, and here is where the rear of the oil pan goes. So that would normally be in the engine like that way facing rear. What else do I need to show you here? That's about it. I did check this seal here, so this is the old one, and as pointed out, we've got this little seal part right up here, kind of a little lip, and the importance of that is the new one also has the lip on it, and I'm going to open that and show you. Super important to get the same type. If you happen to have a small block Chevy and you're doing that, this is the part from Velcro. And this one's great. It comes with a little tool that you need to put it back into the engine, and also the seals here. So once again, here's the part number, and it is a rear main bearing seal. Instructions. So the large sealing lip must be positioned towards the front of the engine. Make sure the parting lines of the seals are offset in relation to the block main cap parting line by 3/8. This will reduce the chance of leakage by ensuring proper lip alignment and preventing shavings of the backside sealing bead. For your convenience, a plastic installation aid or shoehorn is provided to help prevent damage to the backside bead. Apply RTV sealer to the outside edges of the cap recess in the block. Lubricate surfaces of all sealed lips and crankshaft by applying a thin coat of motor oil or grease. If the engine will not started within several days, grease is recommended. Sounds good. So this is the old one. Let's check out the new one and see if we can get that on. On the C3, this isn't a job that you do that often due to the fact of taking off the oil pan, and in my case it's very time consuming because you have to take the steering linkages off, and you also have to take the Y-front exhaust pipe off as well before you can even take the oil pan off. So that's the primary reason why I'm doing it now, and you know, I'll set it up for success in the future. All right, time to get this one on. Let's just do a physical check to make sure they're both the same. and they look pretty much identical. Pretty neat, maybe a little bit different, but should not be an issue at all. Let's see if we can slide that in. So once again, using some Ultra Slick on this, it just helps things slide in better. I'll just put a light coating on here. So when it's in the engine, it's going to be offset by that. Should work out. All right, let's stick this one on. Put some of this on here. That will certainly facilitate the gasket going on properly, so let's hope for the best. All right, so making sure I get it in properly here. So it looks like this is the right way around, and I'll stick that in that way. And like I said, I'm going to offset it by 3/8 of an inch, and I'll show you how I'm going to measure that precisely in just a sec. So to know exactly how far I want to put that in, I can use this digital caliper, and what it has on the end as you move it, like most of them, they have a depth gauge that goes out. So I'll be able to set that up for 3/8 of an inch, and that will be my depth gauge as I line it up. So for this, let's see if I can get that in the camera. Let's make it 3/8 of an inch. All right, that's what I'm looking for right there, 3/8 of an inch. I lock that in, and there's my depth right there. So you've got 3/8 and your depth gauge. So we'll need that when we get back to the car. With the 3/8, essentially it will look like this. That is the offset that you want to have in there, so that the seam isn't on par with that seam. So you want to offset it a little bit to help prevent the leaks. That is the trick and the recommendation to do that. So 3/8 of an inch. Once again, use my depth gauge here. There we go. That's the offset. Now we got to head out to the car again and do that one. Okay, we're back under the engine again, and I'm going to attempt to get the seal out, which is up there. Just need to get a few things here. Got something that is going to be a little bit firmer, and hopefully that'll be able to be used to push that around, no problem. There we go. It was enough just to push it around. And then you can see this part coming off here, which is great. And you just need a pair of pliers to grab that. This guy here, there's the seal. All right, here we go. Got the pliers. Needle nose, just being careful not to touch any of the metal. Should be able to just pinch onto that and pull it out. There we go. Nice. And that is it. That's how you get it out from the top of the engine side. Just noticing what side of the gasket is facing forward and rear. Anyway, that's it. That's the rear seal out. Now we got to put a new rear seal in and the new oil pump as well. So to put this rear seal in, you need a little tool to help put the seal in. Not that it actually requires it, but see this little edge here? That is super sharp, and that's like a razor blade. So without using the tool, you're going to shave off some of this gasket. And I'll show you in a little video clip of what will happen without using that tool. And we'll take it from there. What you see here is if you don't use one of those little shoehorn things, the engine is so sharp in this area that it just peels the inner bead off of that gasket, therefore making that gasket not have an oil tight seal. So you really have to be careful in this area. It's a tiny tool here that goes in right there, and that just protects the gasket from getting cut on there. So you need to bend this end here. Like so. And stick it in there, and that will just protect that edge. It's super thin, so it doesn't actually get in the way. And now I'll just insert this seal. Should slide in there, no problem. All right, just gotta line this up. I think that's it. There we go, perfect. See how that just slides in with that in place and doesn't shear off any of the gasket material. And you just pull it out. Hopefully it doesn't rip. There, you pull it out and it's in there. All right, I'm going to measure the 3/8 there and just leave it at that, if that works, and then we know that is going to be in by 3/8 and that is going to be 3/8. All right, getting ready to put everything back together, and I decided I'm going to use just a little bit of black RTV sealer here and on the other side as well, and I'm going to get that done by putting it on the side and that side and then installing that. I'm also going to put some engine assembly lube inside here as well and on this surface, so that when the engine does start up, everything will be fine and good to go. All right, so I'll put some RTV on here and some engine ultra slick in there and then tighten it up. So let's do that. So I'm using the ultra black mainly because it's oil and it's good enough for this temperature on here. So I'm just putting a tiny bit. So as mentioned, I'm going to stick a tiny bit on here. And let me see here. All right, so I've got this one set up. It's important to make sure that you get that lip facing the front of the engine. I'm just going to put the ultra slick on there and then I'll be ready to install this thing. Should be good enough. Pop this on, and as you can tell, I've got a tiny bit of the black sealer on there, and this will just pop up like this. Let me get a bolt ready to go. There we go. And stick this back in. hand tighten these. So start off with hand tightening them. And then these are going to be torqued down to about 12 right now, and then an hour later I'm going to come in and do the final torquing on that, which for a 1977 engine on a Corvette is 80 foot-pounds. All right, this is set for just 10. That's it for that one. That's it for now, and I'll come back and retorque these. Okay, we're going to be working with the old oil pump and trying to get the screen on, and I've got a tool here that will help, and we'll try and get that thing on. So first of all, I'm going to unpack this screen here. That down, get rid of this stuff. I've got the new shaft here. I'm going to check it out, make sure it's similar. So we've got this one here that goes in there, like so. Just to verify, we can pull this one off. Just a sec. Oops, I broke it. Nice. So this guy comes off. Let's just tap that off here. And then you're set with this guy here. It just normally goes in there, and the little sleeve goes over that thing. So I've got an option here to fire this guy in. Like so, and put a new sleeve on there. Let's see how that works. These sleeves have a little halfway mark in them. Probably can't see it on camera there, but that will push it up halfway there, and it'll push it halfway deep in that side. So I'm just going to put some of that Ultra Slick on it again and see if this one works. I have no issues in reusing this one. A little bit in both sides here. Stuff's so sticky. All right, let's get ready to install. So you can pop that sleeve in there, get it seated. That's seated all the way, and this guy will fit in here, maybe, like so. All right, this is in with the nylon little washer in there. Fits good. So I'm reusing the original one, and I like that. So my next step is going to be putting the screen on here. So putting this on, I want to make sure that I get this screen oriented the exact same way. So it goes in this hole here, and it'll need to be pressed in. And then I want to make sure that I get it exactly at the same angle as this one. once everything is said and done. So I'm going to press it in. Once again, I'm going to use a little bit of this stuff on it. Just so you know, this is a petroleum-based type of lubricant. It burns off relatively quickly once you start your engine, and everything else starts to get lubricated. So let me get the press thing set up here. This is a multi-purpose one, meaning that it'll fit other sizes. It's really just providing some sort of grip on it so you can tap it in. So with this thing here, it just tightens along the pipe there, and I'll just set it up here. Slide that right down to the end there. Change my glove. Okay, so here's the basic setup here. You've got this thing to help you put it on, and there's the screen, and then you've just got to maintain that angle. So let's give that a shot and see how it goes. Trying a different surface, better strategy here. Line that up, tap it in. So as you can see, it's going in, and I just need to hammer that all the way home. So one of the challenges for me is making sure that I get the angle that this collector or screen is going to be at. So what I've decided to do is make sure that this is level, and then you can see how that is on an angle, right? Going up that way. What I'm using here is a electronic protractor, and I just put that on like that, and it's telling me that it's going to be 11.50 degrees is the slope that I need that on. So that's what I'm going to do for the new one, is hold it in here like that and put my electronic protractor on there and see if I can get it where I need it to be. So let's say we're at 11.80 is what I'll be looking at for the other one. So let's try that out, and I think it's still loose enough that on the new one that I should be able to rotate it up and down before I drive it home. So let's try that out. So 11.80, 11.70. All right, so let me move this out of the way, put the other one in here. So we'll stick that on here. It's at 2 or 1.90, so you can see it's got to be shifted up here quite a lot. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. Yeah, nice. It seems to be working out pretty well. 11.80, right? Overdid it. Put it down a bit. Put it up a bit. Hard to get right on that 11 point. That's pretty close. There. So I'm happy with that. I know it's on the same angle as the other one, and I'm going to install it all the way in at this angle, and that'll be fine. This little piece of wood under here, give me a little bit more support. Okay, let's hammer it in here. Nice. So you can see here, that has installed that screen perfectly. So now I can take this off. It's a specialized tool that you don't really need that often, but it's very difficult to do it without it, that's for sure. That's your tool there. Put that away. And there is this guy, nicely installed. It's about 10.5. There. They are both equal, and that's good. So now I can go ahead and install this as well. Well, we're back under the car. As far as orientation, this is the flywheel. This is facing aft. This is facing forward. So I'm now going to torque these down to 80, which is the spec, and we should be good with that. All right, the torque wrench is set at 80, so let's crank it down. And I like to do things evenly, not too much pressure on one side. That one's at 80. And that one's at 80. Double check. Yeah. All right. So both of these are at 80 foot-pounds, and now it's time to put the oil pump in there and torque that into 65. So this tip of the oil pump has to go up and mate with the distributor. So it's really important that these align, and whatever is in the distributor lines up with whatever is in the pump, because the distributor actually drives the pump. So I'm going to fiddle around with that, get this set up the right way here, which is this way, I believe. Yep. And then, as I remember, this guy was facing that way, and it's just a matter of sending that up, making sure that aligns properly. To me, that aligns. I'm just going to offset that by 90 and see if that's a difference. Yep. So I'll put that back like so. That's going to align there. Take the one bolt that I have here. That's the single bolt here that'll hold the oil pump on. And I'm just going to tighten that and torque it to 65. That's tight. Now let's torque. Got that set up to 65 and let's torque that in. All right, 65, that is in. So where we are right now, I've got the rear seal in, the cover is on and torqued up, and we also have the new oil pump and the screen installed, plus it's lined up properly with the distributor shaft, which I'll show you just a sec. So we're looking down the car towards the oil pan screen, and the oil pump is up there, and then if you look even further up there, you can see the white nylon sleeve that keeps the shaft together. So that's it for this. Hey everyone, that concludes the video on the oil pump removal and replacement, including the screen, also the rear seal removal and replacement as well. So hopefully you found this video to be interesting, and if not, at least entertaining along the way. So that's what it's like doing the work on these older model vehicles, whether or not it's an old Chevy, Ford, or whatever. This is what is needed in order to get this thing more or less restored so that it looks awesome and works awesome at the same time. So stick around for more videos. I've got some on the go and they will be posted very, very soon. So thanks a lot for your support. Consider subscribing if you want, and we'll see you all in the next video.